Chapin, I know you don't have a lot of your service area around the listening area, but I always like to bring you back and have you catch up with your former constituents. So, how are you today, my good man?
Seth, it's great to be with you guys. Hope everybody's doing well. And DeWitt, Macon, McLean, Pyatt, surrounding zone there. Hope you guys are doing great.
Yeah, how are you? Are you? How's your new district treating you? I mean, obviously, well enough. You're still down in Springfield doing your thing.
Seth, I am rolling. Uh, Rolling in a car at all times between Hoopston and Kentucky.
Yep. Right. Yes. Exactly.
That's the new district.
Yep. For sure. It's. I'm sure a lot of driving and stuff for you. But no, Chapin, I want to get you back on and just kind of get your thoughts. Speak with us on the governor's budget proposal. What stood out about what the governor wants to do this year with our money?
Well, look.
I mean, besides spend every last bit of it. What's he want to do?
So this immigrant crisis is having a direct impact, and it's collapsing our ability to provide all kinds of things to the taxpayers and citizens of Illinois, to the actual citizens of Illinois. So the governor is going to propose to spend about $1 billion in spending on these illegal immigrants that are coming across the border. And I say about, no one really knows because there's so little transparency in his budget. That's just the $1 billion we've been able to find so far, right? But there's about $1 billion in spending on illegal immigrants. But then you go look at, things like we're actually gonna take development disability funding backwards in Illinois. We're gonna go from $500 million behind in treating our development disabled friends and neighbors and family right to about $630 million behind. Okay, so this is not a vacuum, and people that have businesses and have jobs realize there's a reality to life. And then somehow progressive liberals come in and somehow think money grows on trees. Well, if you're going to blow $1 billion on illegals, it's going to come from somewhere. For example, down at the U of I, they cut the for college kids, and then yet there's $1 billion for illegals. They're cutting funding for the development disabled. Well, let me say this differently. They're not paying full freight for the development disability funding, what we're supposed to be spending, but we're going to have $1 billion for illegals. I can go on and on. Here's another one. The governor says, "Oh, I'm going to give you a grocery tax relief." Well, that's great because, last time I checked, we're at a 30-year high in the percentage of income that people are spending take-home pay income on their food bill at the grocery store. Except, Seth, guess what? Buried in this budget is a personal income tax increase. Okay, so that's sort of like giving you. Saying, "Oh, I'm going to give you $1 back in your right pocket while I'm stealing $2 out of your left."
Yeah, right.
Yeah. There's no tax relief for the people of Illinois. So I want to just kind of be clear, and I don't, this is another sticky tack and duct tape budget from the Pritzker administration, but it doesn't have to be. If the Democrats get serious about this border issue, we wouldn't be looking at $1 billion spent on illegals coming across the border. But instead of getting serious, we keep, the governor keeps throwing out sanctuary state, sanctuary state. This is nuts, man. It's absolutely nuts. And now we're prioritizing people who aren't even from here, and we're literally hurting the people who are here, the development disabled. So, that's what I think about the governor's budget.
Well, and to your point there, Chapin, what baffles me necessarily isn't necessarily lawmakers because a lot of times they tell us what they're going to do, and we, choose to send them to, Springfield to do those things. What baffles me is when they do those things. For instance, fund $1 billion for immigrants, and then they cut services. And the funny thing to me is when they cut services, the people that are crying out saying we need that money, you can't take it away from us, they're the ones voting to send those people back to Springfield to cut their money from them, if that makes sense.
No, I know exactly what you mean, and it is sort of like just the kind of the liberals world, right? I mean, they think everything's going to be okay, yet they keep voting for people to make it worse. And I was in a meeting the other day, and yesterday, in fact, with development disabled community, and there's this bill out here to change the rules around jobs for the development disabled. We'll see these people out. You go to McDonald's, you go to the grocery store, you'll see a development disabled friend or neighbor maybe working, at a store or someplace. Well, if you're going to go ahead and in some cases, a high functioning, Down syndrome individual, for example, maybe work at the grocery store, doing every bit the same job of everybody else. But in other cases, you have people that are literally at 12% productivity. And if you're going to force that employer to pay that person minimum wage, that person's not going to have a job, right? And so we have this bill to basically, equalize pay, which is going to put all these development disabled people, not all of them, but you put a lot of them out of work. They're just going to be without a job now. And again, these are people who are doing the best they can with where they're at, but they're contributing to society in some way. They're contributing at the level they can contribute. And when they do get paid, whatever they get paid, they're happy and they're proud of it. Well, now we're going to lose a lot of those. And I'll give you an example down in Charleston, in my new district. We're going to lose about 45 development disabled individuals who are doing cardboard recycling, okay? If this bill were to be enacted, well-intentioned as it is, they're going to lose, 45 people are going to lose their jobs, okay? So now they're going to be sitting in front of a TV all day long. That's not right. That's not fair. That's not doing right by these folks. But, the liberals' answer is, we're going to find some money to pay for it and offset this cost so they won't lose their jobs. Great. Except Governor Pritzker didn't even make it halfway through this frickin' fiscal year before he tried cutting the DSP money for the direct service providers for care, for feeding, for medications, for showering, for, changing beds. I mean, he tried cutting 2.5 million direct care hours out of this year's budget, not even 6 months through the budget year, okay? And yet here come folks who see that, they say that's wrong, they call it out as wrong, and yet they'll believe the next promise that some money is going to magically appear to make this other group whole. It's not. And reality has to set in eventually, Seth.
Well, and then to piggyback off of that, it cracks me up when we talk about how inclusive we are, how much, no person is illegal, we care about everybody, and yet the most vulnerable in our communities and in our world get neglected in the state of Illinois. They get kicked to the curb in the state of Illinois.
Literally the most vulnerable population we have is our development disabled. These are people who, no fault of their own, we all of us, I don't care what your party is, whatever your affinity is, your affiliation, I don't care. We all have a duty and ethical obligation, a moral obligation to help those who truly cannot help themselves. And that's the development disabled in the state. And, whether it's, and these folks, they're just such wonderful people. And, some are very, very high functioning. I mean, we all know that, that guy or that gal that's got Downs and they're driving their own car, they're going to work, they're doing everything they can do. But then you have folks that my wife works with in Champaign that are literally 24/7, 365 round the clock care, or they'll literally, pass away. And to sit here and think that Governor Pritzker couldn't even make it 6 months through the fiscal year before he tried cutting 2.5 million hours, Seth, 2.5 million hours of direct service care to these people, feeding, medicine administration, showers, changing the diaper, changing, their bed sheets. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just awful. And then you turn around and you're like, we're going to spend $1 billion on, healthy body people coming here illegally. Where's the priority?
Mm-hmm.
When are we going to prioritize the people that are here?
Mm-hmm.
When are we going to prioritize the taxpayers that are here? When are we going to prioritize the citizens that are here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even care about, my own priorities. It's let's take care of the people that need taken care of. You know what I mean? Before we take care of other people. So, yeah, for sure. Chapin Rose, state senator, our guest on the phone here today. Anything, Chapin, in terms of the governor's state of the state, how he feels about where Illinois is at, from what he had to say a few weeks ago there in February?
Well, look, I'll say a couple things. One is, I am 100% for real grocery tax relief for the people of Illinois. That means you're not raising their income taxes in the same bill like he's proposing to do. Okay, it's not tax relief; that's a tax increase. So I'm for real grocery tax relief. I'm also for. We'll join him. I think he's got a great concept around breaking apart DCFS. I'll point out that I put this bill in, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago to break up DCFS and get it back to taking care of kids and stop all the other nonsense stuff it's involved in that's just distracting from its most important function, which is the immediate triage of children that are in immediate jeopardy or harm. He's also got an interesting proposal that I think warrants a very thorough conversation around long-term pension changes for the state. I'm not prepared to endorse it at this point, but I think he's got some good points in it that deserve some discussion. So, there's some other things in his state of the state that were, worth pursuing, more on the long-term policy side of the ledger as opposed to the budget side of the ledger. But again, certainly, Seth, if all we're going to do is, blow $1 billion on people coming here illegally, in the meantime, we're going to short sheet everybody from the development disabled to college kids in the state, there isn't a long-term future for Illinois. So, this budget has to get real and has to get real fast.
Rose, on that note, let's take a break, my friend. Come back with some more. State Senator Chapin Rose on the phone with us this morning. More to come with him on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.org.
Let's check the markets on the RFD Radio Network. I'm DeLaw's Yonke. Well, we're still holding gains here. Corn up half a dozen, soybeans up double figures. May corn up 6 3/4, 435.5. July up 6.5, 446.5. December up 5, 466. May soybeans up a dozen, 1160.25. July up 11.5, 1170.25. November up 9.5, 1151.75. May wheat, Chicago up 2.5, 533.5. KC up 15.25, 571.5. Livestock, April lean hogs up 12.5 cents, 85.12. And April live cattle down 2.5, 187.22. April feeders down 92, 254.95. Crude down 99 cents, the Dow up 167. RFD Radio Network.
In addition to great radio marketing, the Miller Media Group now offers a full suite of digital marketing solutions. Our affordable programs include custom web design and SEO to help you get found on Google. Seeking more inbound web and store traffic? Our Facebook, YouTube, and geo-targeted marketing programs are all designed to make your cash register ring. To get started, call your Miller Media account manager or go to mmgdigitalnow.com. Miller Media Digital, where digital becomes local.
Hi, this is Dr. Sue Stur at Covenant Animal Clinic, your hometown vet in Clinton. Now is the time to protect your pet from heartworm disease. We are now offering ProHeart 6, which protects your pet for 6 months with one simple injection. Get all the details by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
ServPro of Piatt DeWitt counties is the leader in fire, water, and mold restoration. See all the many services they can offer your home or business by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. State Senator Chapin Rose on the phone with us for today. Chapin, we're getting into the new legislative year, and so there's lots of bills and such that folks want to pass. What's catching your eye down in Springfield? What are your constituents proposing and talking about?
Well, first of all, let's talk about what some of the other nonsense that's going on. Some of these things you kind of laugh at and you go, man, where do they get these crazy ideas? And then some of them they get really serious. So, there's a bill filed to ban gas-powered leaf blowers. I mean, I'm sure everybody listening to this is like, you're out of your minds. But then there was another bill, which is extremely serious, that would literally ban all semi-trucks built before 2010 or earlier, okay? Well, that's most of them on the roads. That's what takes food to your grocery stores. That's what takes food out of the farm fields. That's what takes gasoline to the gas stations. Oh, those are most of your, ambulances and fire trucks too, okay? School buses, all right? So think about how much food costs right now at the grocery store. And then, I don't know, add 60, 70% to it. By the time you have a massive supply chain crisis and can't actually get farm food off the farm and into the grocery store, can't get grain, out of the elevator and into ADM down in Decatur. What are these guys people? What do they want? How much more expensive do they want life to be for us? I mean, anything you buy is going to be more expensive. Do you realize, Seth, because diesel trucks are built to last, most of the trucks on the road were built before 2010. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's gasoline tankers, any of them. But I did this poll down in my new district the other night, Crawford County. I had a guy was at the local fire chiefs meeting. I said, hey, ask him how many of the fire trucks in the county were built before 2010. The answer was all of them.
All of them. Yeah, most departments can't afford. Most
Yeah.
departments can't afford to upgrade their stuff. Yeah.
Right. So guess what? You're done. Oh, by the way, ambulances. It would apply to ambulances too. These people have lost their minds. They are devoid of reality, Seth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like common sense has left. They are checked out. Common sense is checked out.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's interesting because that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to pass. I don't know what the likelihood of it passing is, but it just exemplifies just the ideas that it's you talk about devoid of reality. It's just a misunderstanding of what life is like south of Chicago. You know what I mean?
Well, but if you put this up for a vote in Urbana, they'd be like, oh, great. You know what I mean? Like carbon, get that carbon. You know what I mean? That's what would happen. And yet they'd be the first to wonder where the food go. So I don't know. I mean, I was talking to somebody last night. I think it'd be fun this summer to just ring Chicago in farm trucks, for a day and just let them know that, hey, if you guys really want to eat Chicago, maybe you don't file junk like this,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just look at how insidiously stupid it is. I mean, fire protection, Again, I bet if you raise your hand in DeWitt County and said how many fire departments have trucks built, it'd be, virtually all of them, if not all of them.
Mm-hmm. You'd probably find a handful that have one or two rigs that were pre 2010.
Yeah, I think in Clinton, sure, but you think Waynesville fire's got? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they do, but I know I represent a lot of rural towns, a lot of rural fire districts, and they're struggling to keep the equipment they have running. They don't have $500,750,000 to buy a new rig.
Well, and then then that goes to the small family farm. The guy with just the basic stuff from when in the 90s when he took the farm over. It was new then. It still works, or maybe it doesn't still work, but it gets the job done. You know what I mean? But kind of one of those things. I mean, it just trickles through so many portions of our life here in downstate Illinois.
Seth, I wish I could tell you this was even the craziest bill introduced. It's not.
What's the craziest,
bill
Chapin?
Filed that a representative from Naperville, Illinois, filed a bill that will terminate your parental rights as a parent. Take your kid away. They want it.
Rose, we lost you there. Say that all again.
Oh, they can. But until they're 18, they're yours.
Rose, Rose, I lost you there. Say that all again. I'm so sorry, my friend.
Yeah, there was a. Did you hear about the bill? What the bill does?
You just said the bill. The person from Naperville.
The person from Naperville has a bill that would terminate your rights as a parent, take your kids away, if you were them gender affirming, quote unquote, gender affirming care, or as a parent, don't go out and get your kid, a sex change operation. You lose your kid. All right. This is gone from off the reservation nutso world to outright evil world. Okay. They're coming for your kids. Now, I don't think that bill is going to pass this year. But the fact that a state representative elected from Naperville, Illinois, even filed this is wrong, man. These are your children as parents, okay? Once they turn 18, they're an adult. They can do whatever they want to do. I hope they consult with you. I hope they ask for your advice. And I hope you give it to them. But adults are not kids, and kids are not adults, all right? Parents should control the health care decisions of their minor children. End of story.
This is what happens when the state thinks it's better suited to be a parent than the parents.
That's exactly right, brother. And that is evil. All right? That is where you take – this is no longer a reasonable policy discussion about the best way to provide, the best way to the outcome, okay? This is a disagreement about the outcome because I'm on the side of parents and families, and I'm not on the side of the state taking control of children away from parents and families. She literally this bill equates the refusal to put your child under the knife in gender-affirming care as a parent with child abuse. She makes those two equivalent.
Yeah, well, and I mean, when Illinois Republicans continue, or not Republicans per se, but not yourself, I guess, Chapin, but when you continue to cede ground, this is where it inevitably ends up. You just continue to give these people what they want, and they're going to take and take and take more.
Well, the fact that this has even been introduced for conversation in Springfield should send a chill through every single person's spine in the state of Illinois. The government does not know better than parents how to parent a child. And that ought to be and used to be a matter of, not even a question, right? That was just an obvious. And apparently now there are people in the Democratic Party in this state who think that they know how to better parent your child than you do. That is absolutely insane, and I will fight that every day of the week. So.
Sure. Rose, it's good to catch up with you as always, my good man. Don't be a stranger. We'll have you back on and talk some more. Thanks for doing this with us.
Yep, fantastic. Have a great day.
You do the same. State Senator Chapin Rose on the phone with us here this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network news on the way.